Lice. No one likes them. Even if you're a freak like me who loves every bug under the sun, lice are just worst. They terrorize school children, chase some of us into adulthood, and some even spread disease. That's just a cherry on top of their disgusting sundae. Despite all this, lice are actually kind of fascinating. No, I'm serious. For one, us humans have got not one, not two, but three kinds of lice tormentors, each with their own unique biology and evolutionary history. And believe it or not, these itchy little demons can actually teach us a lot about our species' evolutionary history, including how we may have interacted with other apes way back when. Somehow, people never talk about this. So I've decided that it's about time I let everyone else know about the wonders of lice. Join me as we venture into planet Arthropoda. Alrighty, here we go. So, 3 lice. We have the classic head louse, bane of children everywhere, the pubic or crab louse, that guy they show you in health class to scare you away from adult fun times, and the body louse, which, likes clothes. Saying this, humans have only 2 species of lice to call their own. These are Pediculus humanus, the head and body lice, and Thyrus pubis, the pubic louse. Still, head and body lice are distinct creatures. Confused? Stick around. First, let's back up a little bit. Lice, singular louse, because English is weird, are insects in the order Cicodia. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The grand majority of cicodids are actually non-parasitic and go by the common names book lice and bark lice. Pretty harmless if you're not an old book or a plant. The order does not contain things like wood lice or sea lice, both of which are crustaceans, and neither does it contain other parasitic insects like bedbugs. Even if people sometimes mistake book lice for bedbugs, their resemblance is superficial. Fun fact though, before bedbugs were called bedbugs, their common name was wall louse. I mean, they both are tiny insects that suck blood, so I can understand the comparison. Cicodids are all tiny, barely being a blip on most people's radar. Some are free-living and winged, but all parasitic lice are both flightless and tied to host species, living only on their bodies or in their nests. All develop through incomplete metamorphosis, hatching from eggs into nymphs that resemble adults and gradually molting to maturation without a pupal stage. Most lice, including the non-parasitic, have chewing mouthparts, and parasitic lice that retain these are known as chewing lice. They live on both birds and mammals, feeding on fur, feathers, other skin components, and the occasional blood snack. One superfamily of parasitic lice, the Anopleura, has moved past chewing and developed piercing, sucking mouthparts. They are fittingly called sucking lice and specialize in feeding on mammal blood. Nearly every mammal and bird species on Earth has at least one parasitic lice species of its own, whether chewing or sucking. Us humans only have to worry about sucking lice, but since we have 3 of them, that's of little consultation. Lice have a long record in human culture. They've even infested our everyday speech. Feeling sick or just blah? You're feeling lousy. Is someone no good? Call 'em lousy to their face. Is that lousy person being really particular at how you're doing something? They're nitpicking. This last one is referring to the process of manually picking lice eggs, termed nits, out of hair. I'm not sure how lice have infiltrated other languages other than English, so if I've got any bilingual folk watching this, please let me know your lousy words. Now that we've covered the basics, let's zoom back in on those human lice. We've got 2 genera infesting us, Pediculus and Thyrus. They might look as different as lice could be, but they did share a common ancestor not too long ago. Hey, the Cenozoic era is recent in evolutionary time. As stated before, the species Pediculus humanus contains both head and body lice. Here are pictures of both. The top image is a head louse, while the bottom is a body louse. Kinda similar, but most of us would probably say that those were different species if we saw them side by side like this. So, what gives? No, science hasn't pulled a dumb when it comes to these lice. Scientists actually did believe these lice to be separate species at one point, but we now recognize them as subspecies of P. humanus. Subspecies are two or more distinct populations within a species that have differing habitats, morphologies, and genetics, but are still able to breed and produce viable offspring. Usually, different species cannot successfully interbreed, and those who can will produce sterile offspring. Think mules, the offspring of horses and donkeys. For our lice, we've got Pediculus humanus capitis on our heads, and Pediculus humanus corporeus, or P. humanus, yes, twice, for our bodies. In a laboratory setting, they have successfully interbred, and rare cross-matings possibly occur in the wild. So let's describe pediculus lice in a bit more detail. Starting with the head louse, these guys are 2 to 3 millimeters, about the size of a sesame seed, and pretty pale in color, almost translucent. They've got elongate, dorsal-ventrally flattened bodies, perfect for slipping through our head hairs. The claws that tip each of their 6 legs are just the right width to hold onto their hair shafts, making it extremely difficult to dislodge them. Female lice are larger than males and live about 30 days. They can lay more than 8 nits a day, and a single louse may pump out hundreds of nits within her lifetime. Eggs require warmth for development and are laid on the hair shafts within 6 millimeters, about 1/4 of an inch, of the scalp. They hatch in about a week, and 7 days and 3 molts later, a baby louse will be mature and ready to start a family of its own. Lice feed on blood several times a day, and, like nits, generally stay close to the scalp to maintain the warmth they need to live. Should a louse fall off its host's head, it will die in 1 to 2 days if it doesn't find another host. Given their size, the chances of being infected by a wandering louse is very small. Head lice are most common in school-aged children and their household members, as I'm sure many of us can attest. Oh, the many nights my mother and I spent bonding and crying together while treating my hair. Good times. Head lice are spread most effectively through head-to-head contact, and kids, well, they're kids. Kids play, and playing results in head touching. Girls seem especially prone to catching them, probably because of more frequent head-to-head contact. Hugs, playing with hair, you know, that kind of stuff. Aside from physical transfer, head lice may also spread through items that have come into contact with an infested person, such as bedding, clothes, and grooming items. I feel like it is important to say this. Lice do not care how clean you are. Clean hair, dirty hair, poor, rich, young, old. It doesn't matter. If you've got hair, they'll take you for a ride. I should know. I got them last year. Those with shorter hair have a lower chance of catching them, just by way of having less points of contact for the lice to use for infestation. Thus, another stereotypical reason girls may catch them more often than boys. But no one is safe. If you share a house with an infested individual, please check yourself thoroughly. Have someone else do it if possible. You can do this either by hand or using a louse comb. All you need is one pregnant louse to start the whole cycle over again. Treatment for head lice includes insecticidal and ovicidal, egg-killing, shampoos, combing lice and nits from the hair with fine-toothed lice combs, and exposing all clothing, bedding, and other personal items to high temperatures for an extended period. It's a whole tedious process and one most of us dread. The one good thing about head lice is that they are not known to spread disease. Secondary infections might crop up in wounds we create in scratching at their bites, but head lice themselves are innocent in the disease department. The same can, unfortunately, not be said for their cousins. P. humanus corporeus, or P. humanus, the body louse, is a foe few of us will hopefully ever meet. Their biology is pretty much the same as the head louse, as is their morphology, so this section will be a bit short. Body lice are generally larger, 2.3 to 3.6 millimeters, with morphology more suited for living in clothes and bedding than in hair. Their bites are known to transmit 3 diseases: epidemic typhus, louse-borne relapsing fever, LBRF, and trench fever, with the bacteria responsible listed on screen now. In the past, these diseases caused the deaths of millions and are still seen today on a much smaller scale. Interestingly, epidemic typhus pops up in the United States occasionally for reasons unrelated to body lice. Called sylvatic typhus in these instances, this form is spread by flying squirrels and their nests. Yeah, we have flying squirrels. They're freaking adorable. Don't hug them. If you have access to clean changes of clothes and facilities to bathe regularly, body lice normally aren't an issue. It's the vulnerable members of society that they've latched onto. The homeless and transient often are afflicted, as are those in war zones and refugee camps. Cramped conditions are body louse's friend, as they often transfer through close contact with an infested person or infested personal items. They're easy enough to treat, with improved personal hygiene quelling most infestations, but the same chemical treatments used for head lice may be used for more stubborn cases. Funny thing about body lice. Remember how I was talking about them possibly breeding with head lice earlier? Well, in investigating the genetic differences between the subspecies of P. humanus, scientists once induced head lice to effectively become body lice. They did this by having lice feed in areas atypical for their subspecies and observing their responses to new environmental conditions. So some poor sap got lice strapped to his arm several times a day until the scientists were satisfied. After only 5 to 6 generations, the offspring of these head lice were physically indistinguishable from body lice. The body lice got the same sort of treatment and sucked on scalp for a while, but their offspring did not change noticeably. These results seem to support the idea that body lice likely developed from head lice that wandered off of the head. I'll go more into detail about this in part 2, spoilers, but for now, just know that the reason we have body lice is probably because we don't like to be naked. Yeah. But don't go worrying that your head lice are going to mutate into body lice. That experiment was performed under ideal laboratory conditions, and your lice have no reason to go making history on your body. If you have lice right now and you're watching my video, you probably shouldn't be using me as a medical source. Go see your doctor, please. Okay, guys, now it's time to talk crabs. Everyone loves crabs. Well, not these ones, probably. Thyrus pubis is the pubic louse. Colloquially known as crabs or crab lice, these guys very much live up to that nickname. 1.5 to 2.0 millimeters in length, they've got pale, squat, flat bodies with crab-like claws on their first 2 legs. The crab cosplay is nearly complete. These claws are perfect for grabbing the thick body hair found in their favorite habitat, the pubic region. These guys love pubic hair. It's dark, it's dank, and it provides easy transmission to new hosts. You know how. They'll actually set up shop anywhere there's coarse body hair, leading to them occasionally being found in beards, armpits, eyebrows, and even eyelashes. Yep, you can get crabs in your eyelashes. Happy nightmares. Even if they can be found elsewhere, these guys generally prefer hiding down south. Hence, they're most well known for being spread through sexual activity. That's not always the case, as like other lice, they may find themselves on a new host through items used by an infested person. Despite popular myth, however, the chances of catching them from a toilet seat are infinitesimally small. Like head lice, they die soon without a human host, and they really can't walk on a toilet seat. It's like an ice rink. About 2% of the world's population is estimated to be infected at any given time. That's a lot of lice. Thankfully, pubic lice, like their scalp-loving cousins, do not spread disease. They live 3 to 4 weeks, and females will lay about 30 eggs in their lifetime. Now, just given their nature, pubic lice are normally found on humans who have gone through puberty. That is, teens and adults who have grown pubic hair. Of course, in today's modern age, many people have decided that pubic hair is not for them. About 70 to 80% of people in Western society landscape, removing their pubic hair partially if not entirely. Reasons vary, but this behavior may actually be helping folks avoid the nasty pubic louse. Multiple health authorities have noted a decrease in observed pubic lice infestations since pubic hair removal became trendy. One paper illustrating this phenomenon is humorously titled, "Did the Brazilian Kill the Pubic Louse?" A Brazilian being a hair waxing method that removes all pubic hair or leaves only a little landing strip behind. Their words, not mine. Surveys have found a correlation between their removal of pubic hair and falling crab infestations, so there may be some truth to this. Pubic lice are by no means going extinct like some people seem to be claiming, but their decline is very interesting to note. If you're wanting to wipe out a crab infestation of your own, treatment is normally carried out with combs, medicated shampoo, and, for eyelash infestation, special petroleum ointment. Please don't use regular petroleum jelly, that's bad for your eyes. Okay, so that's about all I have as a basic rundown of lice. But have you ever wondered where lice came from in the first place? As in, where and when did the first human get lice? That's the question I will be trying to answer in part 2. Yep, there's gonna be a part 2. The rabbit hole went deep on this one. Trust me, guys, this story gets funky. There are gorillas and possible interspecies flings, and my mind has been scarred by all the research. Stay tuned. Thanks for exploring Planet Arthropoda with me. I know this expedition was very itchy, and I apologize for that. Hopefully the fish end screen helps. Anyways, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this video? Have any questions about arthropods that you would like answers to? Leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to explore the wonderful world of our arthropod overlords with me. Until next time, peace. Don't catch lice.